Alright, so the YouTubers CG5 and Liam Donovan have been in a situation where Liam Donovan made a video that involved some of the music that CG5 had made. And despite only using 3 seconds of that music in his video, Liam Donovan ended up getting hit with the copyright strike. And so now he's uploaded this update video titled "He Responded," and here he shares the details of what's going on. So let's watch a clip of this.
So a few weeks ago, I put out a video talking about the worst copyright issue I've ever had to deal with in my life before, okay? Where it seemed like this guy was intentionally my channel at this point and trying to get hundreds of dollars for free from my channel for no good reason at all, for using 3 seconds of his song in one of my videos. And funny enough, it's not like this came from any major label, you know, coming from like the biggest artist in the world on the Billboard. You know, it wasn't like Sabrina Carpenter's label, Taylor Swift's or anything. No, the hilarious irony in all of this is that it came from a fellow YouTuber. A fellow YouTuber turned musician, artist, I guess in his own right, who goes by the name of CG5, who, as I've already talked about before, he makes dream videos, dream SMP songs, and like Among Us songs. You know, the best way to introduce you to his music is just playing you know, some of his genius work. But unfortunately, I can't. I have to put a blacklist on all of his songs because on one of my videos that I played like 20 different songs on, I used his song for 3 seconds, and because of that, he thought he was entitled to all of the revenue from that video entirely. But if it was just that detail, I wouldn't have went on and made the video. It was because even when I cut out the copyright claim and that I didn't even feature, I bit the bullet and I didn't even feature his song in my video anymore. I cut out the 3 seconds and just muted the audio. The copyright claim would not go away. It still was there, which made it seem like he was just intentionally of me at this point. So it was all these things combined which made me make this video.
Alright, so as you just saw right there, Liam Donovan was explaining how he got the copyright strike because he used just 3 seconds of the song in his video, but then he was like, you know what, okay fine, I'm just gonna cut out those 3 seconds, you know? And so he did that, but then even after that, even after those 3 seconds of the song weren't in the video anymore, he still had that copyright claim. The claim wasn't gone at that point. And so that's what really bothered him. He was like, wait a second, dude, I just got rid of the music that, you know, you did the copyright claim for, but the claim hasn't gone away. It's still there. And so that was something that was really bothering him. And, you know, that's why he made a video 3 weeks prior to the one that we just watched. And in that video, you know, he talked about that situation. So yeah, overall, this is one of those things where, you know, despite how his content was actually transformative, that system, the, you know, copyright claim system, that really created problems for him. Despite him not being somebody who was like, you know, causing any issues, because that system exists because, you know, you don't want somebody to like steal your content or whatever, but at the same time, that's not what he was doing here. You know, this was transformative content. And in that clip, he explains how, you know, even the massive music artists out there like Taylor Swift or Sabrina Carpenter, he used their music, and, you know, he hasn't dealt with these kinds of copyright claims because of that, because he's just not using that many seconds of the music, right? But then here, it was just 3 seconds, and that was enough to get hit with the copyright claim. And so yeah, it's just a really unfair situation overall. You know, he wasn't somebody who was like causing any issues, which is what this system is created for. And, you know, he still had to deal with these problems even after getting rid of it. That's another thing. It's not just that, you know, to begin with, this guy was just making transformative content, but then even after he got rid of the 3 seconds, even then, you know, it still didn't cause the copyright claim to go away. Now, real quick, I'd just like to say that I'm giving out shoutouts on this channel to people who subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment, letting me know that they subscribed. If you do that, then in the next video, I'll give you a shout out. Now, back to the video. Alright, so given how up until this point we've talked about the bad situation that Liam Donovan was in, there's actually something good to talk about regarding this situation here, because what ended up happening was that the copyright claim was actually dropped, and Liam Donovan actually got this message from CG5. So now let's watch a clip regarding that.
What I did appreciate and like to see, though, is that I did get an email and he did release the copyright claim. Whether that be out of a mistake or like social pressure, it seems like he did come forward with that, which I did appreciate, and also sent me a message in Instagram DMs that I want to read out. So CG5 Beats right here said, "Hey Liam, I don't know if you're active here, but I was just made aware of your video today and I wanted to apologize directly." Little did he know. I'm sorry for the late reply, okay? Apologies there, I do have to own that. But he says, "I had no idea the copyright takedown happened until I saw the video, as the decision was not personally made by me, but by YouTube's automated claim system through my record label, Virgin Music." So okay. Okay, first of all, this guy has a record label called Virgin Music, okay? Okay. But to be fair, I guess he's saying he had nothing to do with it. He isn't paying attention to it. He's signed to this record label, and it seems like they already have this system involved that they immediately copyright claim anyone who even uses any amount of their music, even if it's down to like 1 second to 2 seconds, they immediately just copyright it through a system. Now, that may or may not be true. I guess, just because I'm not trying to start anything huge. I don't want to like elongate this. This is more just an update video to put this to bed, because I don't want to have this go any further. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, even though I've just never run into this issue with any other artist before when I try to mute the audio and it still doesn't work. The copyright claim still stays there with this guy, but it goes away with everyone else. I don't understand how that happens at all, or how that mistake happens. So that's something I guess I would take up with Virgin Music, your record label or something. But to be fair, he does say, "I'm sorry that your video was demonetized after using only 3 seconds of the song, and even when you muted the clip, that was definitely unfair." So, hey, you know what can you say there? I mean, he's just apologizing. Next time anything like this happens again, you can message me directly via my business email, CG5Beats, so we can address that situation quickly, and thank you. So, for what it's worth, despite if you think it was intentional or not, that's probably the best way he can handle it straight up in the first place, Releasing the claim and then just sending a message to apologize.
Alright, so as you just saw, what happened was that the copyright claim was released, so that's great. And then also, CG5 had actually sent an Instagram DM to Liam Donovan, but Liam hadn't seen this because, he tends to not check his Instagram DMs. So now he saw this, and basically it was a pretty good message. And in that message, it just said that, "Hey, I don't know if you're like active here, but I just want to apologize." And also he talks about how, the copyright claim wasn't done by him personally, but rather this was done through the automated claim system, and it was through his record label, which is Virgin Music. And so because of that, that's why, it was like this automated thing. It's not like he himself went in and did that, based off of what he's saying here. And he specifically points out how it was just 3 seconds, and also he points out how even after those 3 seconds were muted, the claim was still there. And so he's recognizing how unfair the situation was. And then in the end, he also says that if something like this happens again, then Liam can actually contact him through CG5's business email, so they can deal with a situation like this quickly in the future. Now overall, I'd say it's actually a pretty good response, and that's something that, as we saw, Liam actually recognized in that video that he made. But yeah, overall Liam does express how frustrating it was and how unfair it was that he had to deal with this. And he does once again specifically mention how he hasn't had an issue like this with other artists and other music, even like the really successful massive artists, like the ones he mentioned. So that was once again something that he brought up. It's very clear that he was super frustrated because of the situation, which of course makes sense. You put all this effort into a video, you come up with the idea, you edit it and all that, and in the end, if this happens, it just really feels horrible. And so yeah, overall I'd say that I'm glad that the situation has been resolved, And so yeah guys, those were just my thoughts on the situation, and now I'm interested in hearing what you have to say down in the comments below. So leave a comment letting me know what you think and we can have a discussion down there. And with all that being said guys, this is Alexi signing out.